John, this looks just like your other two shows during the week, Johnny Vlogs and Geek and Dorks Reviews. Isn't this supposed to be a new one? Well, yes, it is. This is the Geek Corner. Unfortunately, I haven't picked out a good corner for it to happen yet. And I'm going to be moving soon, so that corner is likely to change. So for now, I think we're just going to keep the same background, but you will find the content will probably be quite a bit different. This is a show that goes into all types of geekery in any way that I want, usually suggested by you guys. So of course, comment below if you have ideas. But I wanted to start this show off with a bang, and honestly, part of the reason why I wanted to kick back into some type of geeky show like this, and that is because I read Ready Player One. Now, if you don't know about Ready Player One, this is a book that is currently being converted to a movie, being directed by Steven Spielberg. You guys ever hear of him? Yeah? I think there's a pretty good chance that this is going to be a pretty good movie. All that being said, the book, it's pretty rare that a book grabs me like this one does. I read it in, it feels like it was less than, it might have been just a hair over 24 hours, but pretty much within one day I took all of this book in. And I'm so horrible I didn't even look up who the author is. Let me check this out real quick. Ernest Cline, and apparently it received an Alex Award. What's really cool about it, first of all, I got it for free. Well, not quite free. I was with Loot Crate for a little while. If you want to see why I'm not with Loot Crate anymore, just search the Geek and Dorks channel for Loot Crate or Loot Waste. That's the name of that video. But one of the cool things about Loot Crate was usually in the box there was at least one thing that I would think was decent. And one of the first crates I got had Ready Player One in it. I didn't read it at the time. I kind of read the back and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Actually, I take that back. I read like the first 5 pages. And it was, even in the first 5 pages, it was just jammed with 80s nostalgia. Ghostbuster references, references to the movie Heathers, and it's all kind of wrapped up in what a lot of people describe as this kind of Willy Wonka story. So I let it sit for a long time. I was going on a trip about a month ago, needed a book, picked it up, and just burned through it. And that's not to say that it's the best piece of writing you will ever find. It's entertaining as all get out, particularly because of the 80s nostalgia thing that's going on. It's got a couple of characters that are pretty likable, but there are things that, as a work of fiction, it doesn't do that great. For example, your main hero in the story doesn't develop a whole lot between the start of the book and the end. You don't really feel like he's gone on much of a journey. There's a bunch of things that he does, and his life changes in certain ways, but his core character doesn't really change at all from the start of the book to the end, which I feel is just a little bit of a ding against it. The other thing is, for some reason, the author repeats information to you 2 or 3 times. I think that he's afraid that some of these concepts are too big for some people to grasp. So it's almost like he re-explains the same concept 2 to 3 times, but within 30 to 50 pages. I mean, to the point where there was a few times where I was rolling my eyes because I was just like, oh man, this guy's explaining the same thing again. Dude, I get it. You already told me about it twice. Why are you trying to re-explain this to me? I don't know if he thought that was a way of padding out the book. It doesn't need it. It clocks in at over 300 pages. I'm pretty sure those could have been trimmed out without taking too much away. But outside of that, the world that he puts together is very interesting. Kind of this rundown future where everyone is diving into virtual reality to get away. And in virtual reality, you can pretty much experience whatever you want. So for fans of the 80s, if you want to listen to every record ever made in the 80s, you can do that. If you want to watch any movie ever made, you can do that. All you need is a connection to this network. Kind of, a little bit like The Matrix, essentially. So, very cool story. Has a little bit of Harry Potter worked into it. This kid is going to school. He's working with schoolmates. There's this big super puzzle that a genius has left behind, and whoever solves this super puzzle basically gets the whole kingdom, and that's really where the Willy Wonka thing kind of weaves into it. I don't think it does pretty well at predicting things. I mean, literally right now, if you take a look at YouTube, you're seeing Oculus Rift reviews all over the place. I mean, virtual reality is literally popping in 2016. And this book does go into that quite a bit, into, you know, what the headset is like, what the gloves are like, the things that you're able to do. It does a pretty good job of actually explaining the interface, what that's like, and things that you're able to do. Like, for example, if you're talking to someone, you can open a window and kind of conduct a search that they don't see, but you can kind of search on information while you're talking to them. Pretty cool stuff. For anyone that is what would consider themselves a geek, is into fun sci-fi, like I said, maybe if you're a Harry Potter fan, if you liked Willy Wonka, you should really check out Ready Player One, the book. Now, the film, of course, is not out yet, but I can tell you, after reading through the book, and I actually used to work in the legal department at 20th Century Fox and was kind of aware of a lot of the different types of issues. I mean, they have whole departments to handle, like, you know, licensing properties from other movies and stuff like that. This thing, in terms of them making a film out of it, is a licensing nightmare. It is just a collage of 80s properties that are from all different studios, all different types of places, and to really tell this story properly, they're going to have to pull licensing from everywhere. I have some reservations. I don't know if the film is going to be like the book. I think what's likely going to happen is whoever the major studio is, can't think of who it is off the top of my head, they're probably going to look to their own catalog and try to find movies of their own that fit those same things that the book is looking for. For example, the movie War Games plays a bit of a big role at one point in this book. If it's a different studio that's producing it that doesn't have right to War Games, maybe they're going to pull some other 80s property that had to do with, you know, a young cyber hacker of some kind. I don't know. I'm going to be curious to see how close the movie comes to the book, and just, man, it's going to be interesting to see how the movie is put together. Also, the book is written in, it's basically written from the perspective of our main hero, but he's talking about it in the past through the whole thing. So in one way, it was kind of passive in terms of reading, because you know that the narrator that's talking to you kind of already knows how the story is going to end. It removed some of the drama for me a little bit. I kind of wish that he had written it in the moment instead of having the character be past all this, like he's retelling the story to someone else. And I'm curious if they're going to try to work that into the movie, if it's going to be told via a series of flashbacks, or if they're just going to drop all that and keep it kind of in the present, which I think would be a better choice. But, you know, Steven Spielberg, great at spectacle, great at special effects. There's a ton of opportunity for both of those to happen in this movie. So, wow, that's kind of a weird thing for the Geek Corner, isn't it? Kind of a review, but also talking about the future of this movie. Either way, I'm looking forward to it. I think they have some great casting opportunities they could take here, and we'll see how it turns out. But regardless of the movie, I think the book is probably worth your time, so check it out. It rates pretty highly. There's a rating here for Goodreads, which I'm not even quite sure what that is, but 4.3 out of 5 at Goodreads. 374 pages. It was originally published in 2011 by Random House, and I know there's a bunch of copies floating around because of Loot Crate, so you might want to check on eBay. You might be able to pick one up extra cheap. But all in all, I really enjoyed it. It's very rare for a book to hook me like that and make me plow through it, and that's exactly what I did here. I had to get to the ending. I had to see how all this came together, and it was satisfying. It was a pretty cool story when you get to the end of it and all is said and done. So I think you'll enjoy it. I hope you'll check it out. Let me know what you thought about it if you've already read it. Do you have some of the same concerns I do about it becoming a film? I'm telling you, there's so much licensing that has to go on there. There might be things that a modern audience doesn't understand, because it is written a lot from the perspective of someone that was alive in the 80s. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm really looking forward to checking those out. And of course, let me know what you think of the new show, The Geek Corner. It's early on, and you know, it's a little blob of Play-Doh right now, and we can shape it into whatever we want. So give me your feedback, what you like, what you didn't like, how we could make things better, and I'll check that out. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll catch you next time on the next show on the Geek and Dorks channel.